Welcome to Creativity Cooks. Today we are making homemade butter. To make this recipe, you will need the following ingredients: 1 cup of heavy cream, an 8-ounce jar with lid, and a pinch of salt, which is completely optional if you want to make a salted butter. Once you have all the necessary ingredients, let's begin. First, use a wet measuring cup and measure out half a cup of heavy cream. Once that heavy cream has been measured out, pour your heavy cream into an 8-ounce jar, and please make sure this 8-ounce jar has a lid. If you want to add some salt to this butter to make it a salted butter, you can also add the salt at this point. Once you've added the heavy cream and the salt, optionally, to the jar, please go ahead and close this lid so that it's very tight. Okay, kids, this is the hard part. I am showing you how I'm shaking this with one hand because I'm filming it, but please use both of your hands, or if you're going to use one hand, hold on to this jar very tightly. We are going to have to shake this heavy cream up for about 5 to 10 minutes. So I just switched hands. You can switch hands. You can use one hand. You can use two hands. I'm not going to show you the entire duration of me shaking this on camera because it's just a long 10 minutes of me shaking a jar. But definitely what we're trying to do to make butter, we are trying to separate the fat from this heavy cream, and we are separating it by shaking it up as vigorous as we can. You can shake it side to side, you can shake it up and down. We just want to start shaking it as much as we can. Normally, when they're making butter commercially, they will use a machine that will churn it, and it will separate the fat from the milk. And the fat is what really makes the butter, essentially. And that's what we're doing now. Is the only difference is this is our homemade version of making butter, and we're just using our mason jar as our churning machine. And you guys are all strong enough. I know you can do this. This is a stopping point. After about 3 to 4 minutes, you can see that my heavy cream, it's not as much of the liquid as it was when I first poured it in. Right now, it's very frothy. It looks more like a whipped cream. This is perfectly fine. If you do open up to do a check to see how you're doing, please go ahead and close it back very tightly and just keep on shaking. Keep on shaking. After about 5 to 7 minutes at this point, this is what my butter is starting to look like. You can see that it looks more like a custard or kind of like a cottage cheese. The fat is starting to separate, but it still needs to separate some more. We want this butter to be a little bit more solid. So we're going to close that lid back, and we're just going to keep on shaking. Here's a good way of shaking it and holding onto your jar. I put both my thumbs up and I'm just grasping it with my fingers, and that works really well. Close to 10 minutes as I'm shaking it, I felt like something felt really sloshy inside my jar. So when I opened it up, I had this solid lump of butter that's forming. I'm recommending that you do this over the sink, but I'm doing this over a bowl so I can show you guys what this looks like. I poured out that lump into my strainer, and I'm using some cold water to kind of rinse this butter off. It is rinsing off any of the excess milk that was in my mason jar, and it's also, because it's cold water, it helps to harden this butter up as we went along. And here it is. This is my lump of butter. This is how you made homemade butter. You can store this butter in a nice container. It does not necessarily have to be refrigerated, but it's better if you put it in the fridge for about 5 to 7 days. Please enjoy this recipe. We gave you guys 2 recipes of this so you can make 2 different butters. If the first one didn't turn out, definitely go ahead and try it again. So let us know how this turned out. Send us some pictures and videos of you guys shaking this butter up. We really hope that you guys enjoy this recipe, and we hope that you are able to make the homemade bread recipe. That will just taste amazing with this homemade butter. Thank you guys all so much for cooking with us. We will see you next week.